Tonight's demonstrations are the second test in the past 10 days for Boston police, who really pride themselves on their ability to handle protests without violence. Jon Keller sat down late this afternoon with the police commissioner, William Evans, for an exclusive one-on-one interview. And, John, it seems like they're certainly ready.
Yes, it does, David. The commissioner says they are, and he expressed sympathy with the outpouring of anger over that New York grand jury's decision not to pursue charges in the death of an unarmed man at the hands of police. But he was unapologetic about his department's handling of recent protests and his resistance to body cameras.
We'll give them the streets as best we can without putting anyone's life in danger.
The commissioner is bracing for tonight's protests and hoping for a night as relatively peaceful as last night's massive New York City demonstrations over the Eric Garner case, an outpouring of anger that Evans told us he can easily understand.
I don't want a Monday morning quarterback on that particular event, but obviously to the naked eye and civilians, it's very disturbing.
Well, if that had happened in Boston and you saw that video, would you be thinking there may be a disciplinary case here? Or?
Without a doubt.
Evans says the Boston cops deserve praise, not protester condemnation, for their handling of last week's marches following the Ferguson verdict.
We've had one complaint for verbal and one for pushing someone out of this. In an anti-police march, I don't expect those involved are going to say the police are great.
But when it comes to demands that police wear body cameras to record encounters with the public, Evans says that could undo years of building community relationships.
I just fear that that trust and that respect will get hindered in our interaction, because no one's going to want to approach us anymore and say, hey, they're dealing drugs over there, or hey, I got a tip on that shooting, because they're afraid they're going to be on video and on camera.
Now, speaking of respect, the commissioner appealed to protesters showing up for that tree lighting tonight to show some respect toward the families attending that event on the Common, after last night's event in Manhattan was marred by expletive-laced chanting from some demonstrators. And as you heard Bill Shields say, they're vowing to keep it respectful, so we'll see what happens.
You know, John, at some point the protests will sort of peter out, and you wonder if something will come from this, if perhaps the relationship between police officers and folks in the inner city, if that can get better.
Well, you're seeing today New York City police announcing new training initiatives. They're responding, at least in the short term. Other cities like Boston have been responding to complaints like this for some time. As far as the bigger issues at play here, the ghettoization of large segments of our population, crime, persistent chronic crime in communities, and racial discrimination. Those are big issues that have been resistant to change over the years. They're going to take a lot more than a few people marching to get some action going on that. It's going to take a commitment by our political culture.
At the very least, hopefully an understanding that there is this problem out there.